Three, two. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how my snipers doing today? If you guys are doing fantastic, listen, today we're doing something different. We're doing an episode of The Peak where we break down the final of EWC. Absolute banger, went the absolute distance, Spirit versus Foot. And of course, we have a legend on the panel in Lucas.
What's going on, guys? What's going on? This was actually my first EWC that I've ever watched, the final at least. So I'm excited to break it down, just kind of react to it. My live reactions watching it, and yeah.
Yes, Sirski. Yes, Sirski. So, yeah, pretty much we are going to be breaking down things. We're going to be reacting. We're going to be reacting to the rounds, and we are also going to be breaking down the rounds where we think, people made mistakes, what should have happened, and not too much hindsight, just, what is fundamentally true. So,
Dual Berettas to find as much activity here. There's the molly. Forced back and already down.
Gets
Good fight,
Insta-dig.
Jugs, the first frag of this grand final. Demon looking to build upon it. Three
Great smokes.
in quick succession.
Yes, sir.
Broached
Yes, sir.
the
Absolutely love
inside.
the
It's
utility.
X-Cloud getting walked on by Dong. He sits him right down. Could be flawless.
and then basically it comes down to a 1v3, but Zontix doesn't win. But I did just want to break down the utility real quick. Right, that's something you did mention. Excellent utility. That's something I'm a big fan of. A lot of people underestimate how much utility you actually need for A smokes, right? If we go a little bit forward, boom. So we can see Demon taking out basically the forklift. We have number 3 in the position to smoke off cross, and then we can see they're going to be kind of like splitting A. We have X-Cloud with a flash, right, to set his teammates up from Squeaky and get them onto site. So we can see over here, when we do click play, right, smoke goes over, flash goes over from Kerbeni. Kerbeni did actually give X-Cloud a flash because X-Cloud does have armor. So it's not like everyone's just buying util here, right? It's just spread out between 2 people. And then we can see when we play it, right, Shiro gets mollied out before this smoke pops. So this is a key thing I want to talk about, because if the smoke popped and then they mollied after, Shiro can kind of just hide in the smoke. He can kind of get away for not necessarily free, but he has a much better chance because he can kind of just use that smoke as a wall, right? Obviously, he gets shot. But they molly him before the smoke pops. You can see he's forced out into the open. He dies, smoke pops. So what do you think about that, Lucas? What do you think about that strat
That's
so
a
far?
highly IQ play. That's like very high IQ. Like nothing near even my rank. Very
Right, give yourself
advanced
the
in
credit.
terms, very advanced in terms of timing. And honestly, just a very good. It's kind of like forcing him out, because not only is it eliminating the forklift player, but seeing that no one's catwalk, that kind of forces everything into sight, which means that they can single out one person on the site to the next, leaving it pretty much with 2 1v5s back and forth.
Exactly. Which is why majority of them went Squeaky, right? Because they wanted that forklift fight specifically, and in case someone was cat, there's gonna be 3 of them with a flash going over.
So at least if one of them dies, trades are very easy.
Exactly, and trades are very easy. That's what we see. We have only one guy A main. Majority of the time, what you'll see in pubs and stuff, pugs, my apologies, is you'll have like 4 A main and then the one guy throwing the smoke and the 2 flashes. So you still have to clear fork manually, and if someone's cat, there's usually awkward fights. We can also see there's another smoke here, so they use 2 smokes, right? So there's going to be no one helping. No one can really help from highway or truck, right? They can't really go and help unless they jump through that smoke.
As
right?
we can see, Magic's even getting smoked off on the left side of A site there. Pretty much splitting off him and Tanir, which gives obviously the fight for number 4 in A main, but 3 coming out of Squeaky. Ultimately, Tanir's kind of just cooked.
Well, three is coming back. 3 is coming back to A main to help 4. It's 5 and the rest of them that are going to be focusing. But ultimately, yeah, Magix has to make a choice. He either comes onto site and helps Tanir, it was still the right call, or he has to leave Tanir on site and try to hold the right side, right? He makes the right call here. After that, we can see we do have actually a counter smoke. This smoke is a CT smoke. So they did good. Obviously, Tenier spamming. My only criticism of this is the whole point of the smoke is to stop the push. If you do spam all your bullets, they can play a timing of where you're going to be reloading. And we can see Tenier start to reload. That means Magix is basically alone right now because Tenier, no, those 2 seconds of reloading, right? Boom. And then basically the kills just go their way, right? The kills just go their way. Donk, tries to sneak up. At this point, there's nothing he can do. And it's just a very, very well executed round. So, to be honest, Foot really practiced this one. There's so many details. Again, that molly before the smoke pops is a huge key detail. Probably your average viewer missed out on. So, you just shout out to
I
Foot,
know I
honestly.
did.
Yeah, because it just it happens so quick. But
Everything happens very fast.
Yeah, and that's just kind of like the beauty of Counter-Strike. So
it's going to be a
Zontix does die.
Instead, that will limit his options. Actually uses the smoke given to him by Shiro to stay on the line. A nade will hurt.
You can see Spirit starting heavy mid. That's a common thing to do.
Has to try and find that trade. Exploit's been plucked from the pack in mid. It's Shiro Zorp to draw blood. Magic's built.
So before we continue, right, the default for cash usually is kind of 2B, 2 mid, 1A. We can see they're just playing a standard default. They were just going aggressive mid. They had a smoke for B main, right? Spirit, we can see on the map this blue smoke over here, which allowed them to push up into vent and kind of crunch mid, right? And once you kind of clear mid, this map is very simple. You only have A or B left, right? And I know that sounds kind of crazy. You can say that for most maps, but usually with other maps, there's a little bit more depth to it, right? There's a little bit more depth, and kind of retaking mid on cash is kind of dreadful in my opinion compared to some other maps. So you can see they crunch mid, they do it very, very well, and then we just continue to play. Right, foot are down. They know they're down. They got to force the play out.
On that MP9 and Cemetery lucky to be alive. Quick one back from the AWP, but a 2 versus 5 with a wounded AWP. Jugs would have to start finding frags.
Very, very
Instead,
nice.
He found a headshot from Donk.
And boom, just like that, right?
Spirit on the board.
It's very simple. So
in terms of team play, played really great. One thing I noticed about Cash as well, especially, is how well Spirit on defense worked. Like, there was always like 2 people out of sight, no matter where it was. Like, there was always at least 2, and even when one got picked off, already there, Spirit did really well with Magix and Donk, kind of having this kind of crossfire, I guess you could say.
yeah,
And honestly, just great defensive round. Because Cash mid control is very important. Like, it can...
very, very, very important.
Yeah.
And what you saw, once they had the information, they didn't just linger around. They instantly, Magix went back and focused with B, right? With Zontix. Once, they heard multiple people shoot, Donk just rotated over. Because again, you clear kind of mid, you're kind of chilling, right?
Yeah.
Rotations, like, it's just super quick and easy to rotate onto the side. So
there's light cash on Krebeni
very, very
Sentry.
nice.
You see that 1400 lost burners coming in.
Let's see the next round.
And there you go, gets the spot, drops the incendiary.
Krebeni wins out. Big fight versus Magix. Even kill. 30 seconds, pressure on that T-side. That smoke forces Doc forward. He does only get the one. Zontix playing off of it. Back of the side, getting run up by an AWP, but he's done it. Cemetery. Combat AWP.
Nice
Could have
upskin.
very well
I
saved
saw that
that
nice,
round.
but
Keeps the dream alive at least.
Tenier has
So
space,
do
he's already
AK
through the
skin.
vent.
I love that wish.
Krebeni will go for that plant. Cemetery, you got anything more?
I like this
on
play
that
from Tenier
AWP?
Compromised.
Compromised.
Nice, now he's kind of in the...
Krebeni on headshot
Yeah, he
does
could have
that
moved a
to
little
Tenier.
bit.
First 3 for the in-game
He
lead,
moved too
and that could be
slow.
enough. Shiro in the
It's
clutch.
good. It's good when it's there,
Cemetery
but
scoped up. Oh, and he's nailed the first onto Krebeni. He's running him down. Shiro, known to clutch, built to clutch. A 1 versus 2 to
Shiro.
silence the fans.
Clutch Minister.
It's a beautiful.
This man,
He's insane.
Clutch Minister.
He's
He's a Clutch Minister.
I think he had at least one 1v2 clutch every single game in the...
Yeah.
Something insane like that. Shiro did absolutely amazing. One thing I did want to point out is how well Donk's positioning is in all of this. He's either always, and through all of Cash, he's either always at like the head peak supporting Magix if they're pushing mid, or he's always in that CT position, like getting that first pick for Foot. It's like they had a say like it's a 3v2, they're back to a 3v2 almost instantly, or a 4v2. Because look, Donk is always there.
Yes, sir. And I also the thing is, I also really like this play from Donk. It's a heads up play, right? You know you have to make a choice. You know you threw utility. You know they're not respecting utility over here. You know retaking this site is pretty hard. It's not the hardest site to retake in the whole entire game. I'm pretty sure that's B does too, but it's up there. Like it's a in terms of hardness, it's like an A tier site to retake.
Yeah.
It's really really hard because there's so many angles. Um, right? There's these like there's the elevation involved as well. There's like so many crossfires you can have. So Donk makes a heads up play here. He's half HP anyways. He gets one, and honestly, um, if Kremeni or yeah, what's his name? Kremeni was a little bit further out, he would have got insta traded by Zontix anyway. So he kind of set himself up in a good death position anyways. But we can see even if Zontix couldn't see him, he gets Demon for free, right? Because
And that's a big
you can play.
pick.
That's a big pick. And then after that, we're kind of down left to a 2v3. And overall, I think Foot played the rest of this round fairly well, right? Symmetry knows that he is alone on site and he has to win this battle, right? He just has to win it. If you don't, you don't. But you cannot just play it too slow. You play it too slow, utility runs out, right? Shiro and the reinforcements will be here. And then after that, I mean, it just kind of just went pretty well. Again, Tenier, in my opinion, I like this smoke play, but you need to recognize that if this smoke does go out and they just peek you, you're just kind of cooked, right? And then he realized this slightly too late, and then you can see the guy in the head glitch just gets him for free, right? Because the head glitch angle is a very hard angle to kill, especially when you just don't expect it. But overall, Shiro played this very very good. I will say they could have played it a little bit better. All right, Krabeni doesn't have to be in the open, and if he is in the open, the opper should be ready to insta peek, right? That's the play. So again, you could call that hindsight, but that is just technically the fundamental play. And then over here, right? I really don't know why Symmetry ran.
He knew he had to be
Right, he just kinda, like-
aggressive. I feel like that's the one little kind of downfall and something I noticed that he did, I guess, the whole game and kind of what led to him being very underwhelming this game. He's a very aggressive opper. He takes his one-on-one battles close up, and I think that's like again, he's very young and it's his first final, so absolute props and shout out to him. But I think the big difference between someone like him and like Shiro being opper is Shiro's a lot more patient. He's always last alive, and he plays that op game a little bit more strategic and not so much balls to the wall.
Exactly. And I think he just lost his composure here.
Well-
I like really there was no reason to even like what he was doing scoped in was fine. Why he ran and just went for a quick scope unknown. He actually could have got the timing on Shiro, and even if Shiro did turn around, at least he like mechanically would have been ready to just aim and just shoot basically
He
instead
has
of quick
that
scope.
ability, and we saw literally with the swing in the beginning of the round, we saw he has that swing ability. So I guess if he can kind of, he is young. This is his first finals.
He is young.
I think he's got a lot of potential, though, like a lot of potential.
No, 100%. Like when we go look at the overall stats, we can see, right? Probably should have done this in the beginning, but that's fine. Magic's on the whole series ended up being -8. Doesn't matter. He's your perma anchor and perma support player. Honestly, only -8 on the series is pretty good.
That's insane.
We have Shiro, right? Not the highest ADR from Shiro, but Shiro does play kind of this slow style, and he lets the game come to him. And honestly, that's fine because this man, I swear to God, he probably like 9 clutches in the whole entire series. It was
Yeah.
insane. Tenier did his job, lights out. He really changed his form. Zontix also changed his form very well, very very well. And of course, Donk playing his Donk standard 1.36 is literally Donk standard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tenier
Symmetry
had a
did
very
have a port.
slow. Sorry, I want to get back on Spirit here for a second. Tenier had a very slow first half of the series. Actually, he and Anubis really started to clutch up, and that's when he started to kind of pop off. I believe was the last couple rounds on Anubis is when he won the whole overtime for them. He got like a couple either double or triple kills. And I mean, the one good thing I guess I could say about that is even though you have a slow start, you know, you don't do too well on one round or even a whole map, he didn't let the rest of the series get to him mentally. And I think that's the big difference between just both the teams in general, is that Tanier started slow and eventually, you know, picked up his pace, whereas some of the foot players, yeah,
example,
X started really strong and then just kind of started to fall off.
He literally just flatlined the rest of the series, right? Or like, you know, we're gonna look at the map after, but Anubis double negative, Ancient just negative by 4. Okay, whatever. He did have pretty good ADR to be fair, and then Nuke again, he just went absolutely ghost. So you know, it doesn't matter how you start necessarily, it matters how you finish, which is why exactly Team Spirit did ultimately take this. But look, overall, the whole team played well for Spirit. Also on the side of Foot, Demon did play. You know, he did play pretty good. You gotta remember, Demon is still a young player. He is only at the age of 18, right? He has some decent prize money, but most of this is going to be like tier 1.5 and tier 2 and etc. And you know, EWC obviously pays a lot. Actually, this all might even be it's not all from EWC, but a good chunk is from EWC. But he's only 18 years old. The 3 guys did all right, right? You could argue that. Corbeni, of course, is an IGL, so you're always going to give him a little bit of slack.
And I think that's good. Being, you know, 76 ADR, like, he technically, in terms of fragging, outperformed Magic. I think he just stayed consistent, and obviously as an IGL, that's all you can really do. Like, that's the best. Like, he did his role, and that's it.
Yeah, yeah. And Symmetry, of course, you know, poor tournament. You need to see more out of him. He probably will get some grace, but of course, if he does keep this up for the next 2-3 months, they will probably replace him because as of right now, I mean, if you just look at his overall stats, 0.96 is not good. It's not good for an Opper. It's not good to be tier 1. That's just a reality. This is like support role stats. If we go to like the last 3 months, right, especially when, you know, it's been playing on Foot and etc., just not good. The lowest stats on the whole team, right? Your Opper should never be the bottom guy. Never. I know sometimes he might throw a little bit of flashes for people and stuff, but he was set up for success as we saw that 1v1, right? That 1v1. If he just kept walking normally, that increases his chances. Of course, if Shiro kills him, it is what it is. I'm just not a play of just losing composure and just holding W and quick scoping out of nowhere. You know, it was not needed at all. But it's okay. You know, lots of pressure on him, but I'm sure he'll turn it around. So anyways, let's continue with the breakdown. So obviously Shiro does clutch. We can see we kind of have a mixy buy here from Foot. Still leaning towards the, you know, full buy area. To be fair, Symmetry is on a deagle here, so, you know, this is where stats might take a little bit of a hit, right? Again, he is a little bit of that support element, but at the same time, you know, when you have a lot of elite riflers on your team, you sometimes got to just take a step back. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, and we can see, right? Amazing execute basically in mid. They take mid control over here, and we can see the CTs instantly react. Tanier pushes A main, which I'm a fan of this, right? When you usually lose map control or when there's a lot of people in a certain area of a map, you have to take space. Now, unfortunately for him, right, it just didn't work out. I still ultimately like the play, getting, you know, map control. They just ended up being patient, right? And this is why people love Counter-Strike, is because there's so much depth. There's so much depth in Counter-Strike. You can play it slow, you can play it fast, you could keep doing mixy, you can keep rushing the whole game, you can execute the last 20 seconds of the whole game, right? You can just mix it up. An economy plays a factor, clutches play a factor. So anyways, we can see Symmetry down to a 1v2. Honestly, right, Foot kind of threw this round. In my opinion. They killed Tanier, right? I believe it technically becomes a 2v4, right? Tanier dies over here. Tanier does get one. So 3v2. You know, maximum in theory, if you execute a site right now, there should be 2. The likeliness is that there's going to be 1. So the fact that they just kind of get absolutely destroyed by Zontix is not ideal, right? Again, it's just the spacing here, just kind of going one at a time. When you give anyone a 1v1 battle, you just never know how it goes. It's just depending on their day, right?
50-50.
So 50-50, right? They had the numbers.
Zontix honestly had a better position too here because that little bend, like Zontic's positioning, I feel like is a
Yeah.
more of a power position than the entry spot there. So you definitely need somebody to trade you, at least.
What? Well, yeah, that's something we talked about just with Cash, right? There's so many angles. But to be fair, they did have multiple mollies. I just think they should have just went. I just think
Yeah,
they should
they
have just went.
hesitated a little
Be-
bit.
Because here's the thing, right? Even if Zontics gets 2, it's a 1v1 post plant. You understand? So it's a 1v1 post plant puts the pressure on the CT now. And you're in a much better position. You could be playing, head glitches. You could try to get into a sneaky area, but just going 1 by 1, just not a big fan of it. Honestly, not a big fan of it. So we're gonna skip over. Cemetery technically did, in theory, have his chance to get a kill. Right, he did pick up the AK in the end. And yeah, by the way, we can see Spirit up 5-3, and as you know, they do lose this map. So we're gonna see how Foot plays the rest of
Just
this.
a big nade.
Can be kept all bay. Heavy nade damage for xPloud to work with.
X-Flat still hasn't popped off yet. 6 and 7.
Thrown by Magics, but it's Donk that profits. Team play on display from Team Spirit round 9.
Now they're going
This
after
smoke
the
over here is so
AFC.
good,
There's
bro.
multiple bodies here to deal with this.
Yeah, Shiro's just hanging out, ready to hold the main. He will be smoked off. It's Tanir that's ready though.
Donk will have one to break.
He can play around this. Caught by the flash, they're not out main.
So similar
Tanir's in a
executed
power
pistol,
position
similar.
around the edge of that smoke, goes looking. Overwhelmed, empty
Okay.
hands for Tanir.
What the hell was
4 on
that?
4, you got to get past Donk. Slides into quad. Oh,
Nice.
he's deadly. Demon gone. There's Magics with the chip in. He's
Nice.
just ripping them to shreds. Cemetery 1 and gone.
So what do you think about that?
I think, okay, I'm gonna mention 2 things here. Again, Foot's util. They had that whole wall from highway practically just, focusing in on site. This was obviously a bit different, having the 3 main and the 1 at Squeaky. They molly that cat so that the main players can, have their entry without having to worry about looking up. They can kind of focus on site, doing what they need to do. And I think that's what kind of forced Tanir to make that kind of misplay, I guess you could say. It was either kind of go around the smoke and try to get a pick off, or kind of just fall back and absolutely retake, like a 4v4 situation.
Yeah, but here's the thing. He had a good spot. He just panicked.
Exactly. He panicked, and he ended up pushing in the middle of nowhere with 0 cover, and pretty much just made himself viable to 2 places now where he could have just used that smoke as a wall and kind of forced an angle to focus on main and possibly get 1 or 2 picks.
Exactly, right? The smoke's just popped. Like even if you didn't count right away, you probably have like 10, 12 seconds. So I have a decent amount of time. All right. Bro, he just could have played like this. Exactly the way he's here. He should have just played it like this.
Yep, I agree.
If you get,
that's why I mentioned that angle, because as you can see, if you go back 5 seconds as well, with the nade, when it goes right here, pause it. You can see there, look, as the nade goes, he still has that cloud that keeps him hidden. And I don't believe the Squeaky player knows he's there. So if they run through there, you have a wall to your left. Squeaky's completely blocked off from you. So unless they're spraying through the smoke, you have a chance to get at least 2 here. Very unpredictable. And I don't think that they're looking up there because it's mollied. Cat is mollied. So unless they hear, a burn or some type of tick, that's 2 kills with them not even looking at you.
Yeah. He just definitely misplayed. I don't know.
Again, it's all in the moment. This is a breakdown, like I said.
But... Well, that's what it is. But the stuff we're saying is not just like, oh, he should have flicked here and he should have flashed here. It's just like it's just the right fundamental play, right? You have basically kind of like a one-way thing. You get spammed. It is what it is, right? This is just a misplay. We have to talk about the misplay. But other than that, I think kind of Foot fumbled it. After Tanir gives you that opening, again, the spacing is pretty bad. Right.
4 on site, as we can mention right now. 4v1 technically. And I think once they have that smoke, they're taking their time a bit too much. You know what I mean? Like they need to kind of punish that area, get onto site, and as soon as that smoke kind of dissolves, you already have the site, and then that's where it'll make it hard for Spirit.
Yeah, you have to either Krebeni or Demon just has to basically, if they're concerned about this right side, one of them holds it.
Yeah.
And then Symmetry and 2 riflers try to take the site at least. You know, but yeah, that's kind of the thing, because they all keep individually clearing the same angles.
Yeah, because if you can
Right,
see there, D-Zigs, he clears left, clears right. So right now, him and Demon are looking at the same thing, and they both die.
Exactly. And you know, like in general, high tier oppers, when it comes to something like Symmetry, right? Like for example, Shiro would just be holding the cross on A. Like right now, Shiro would either be holding where Donk is or where Quad is, the right side, and he would just hold it because he's waiting for that peak. But you can see, Krebeni, right? Whatever his guy's name is, Demon. They each clear catwalk. They each clear the smoke, and then we can see Symmetry. He just cleared what their teammates are clearing, slash still clearing. So there's a lack of communication, there's a lack of incentive, there's a lack of direction, and it's ultimately why Donk gets multiple 1v1s to kind of just bail them out. All right, he gets 2 over here, and of course, you know, when it's kind of like a 4v1, you know, you have a little bit of that leniency to just go for the peak, but
Won't be far away either.
yeah, man.
Zontic's high alert now. Anticipates the commitment. Magic's the unknown entity. They did spam through, caught Donk on the rotation. It's Symmetry's B250 that can't do enough, but it's a distraction for Jugs to profit. Magic's coordinates noted. Tenier active heaven comes in on fun to Demon. It's all too good for the defense. Krebeni back. It's into the 1v1. Contract ahead. Magic's running him down. Side up, he's side up. And just enough bullets from the Craftman.
Just a nice clutch. Honestly, I wasn't a fan of the the setup, right? 2 on site. I never liked 2 on site, but
intensity, and that's one to get back on the board. A partial buy.
hey, we're not gonna break it down too much. Just a nice clutch for Krebeni, and ultimately, if it wasn't for this clutch, who knows how the rest of the game could have went.
Yep.
Not out of position right now. Juggling you till shore. His forward press and Magic's towards middle.
I think
Or
this
the
whole
rotation
game,
away.
Foot were definitely a little bit more prepared
They will need
for
some more.
Cash.
They're already out.
Yeah, they caught the timing perfectly.
Yeah,
Tenier was
Spirit
just
aren't really a
with his
cash
nades.
team.
It's another site is lost. Shiro truck fires off the shot. They know where he is. Smoke won't last forever, but that bomb's gone down, and it's Krebeni falling to the spray through the smoke. Cognizant of the potential for a rat in the system, it's Jugs that's going to be detached from the pack. And Magic's, oh, he's so ready for
Beautiful
it.
Magic.
So 5v3, 5v3. Magic's reads it. They're all coming pretty much from truck and slash highway.
Plan to retake control of this bomb site.
It's a lot of pressure.
Demon on fork. An aggressive angle from Symmetry. He's pretty committed to that. Draws their attention. Demon 1, then Symmetry. Hang on, time ticking. And Spirit evaporate.
2 things I just want to say. Spirit basically played this round fucking flawless in my opinion until the very end, bro. I don't know.
They all just kind of rushed in.
They didn't, like, they rushed in, but they also didn't go. They just never went in, basically. Like the furthest they got was the highway guy and like truck. You know, it just felt like there was no real attempt to, you know, kind of win the round in a sense, which sounds kind of crazy, but that's just kind of how it felt like, right? No one ever just went. And something I do want to criticize, I know Symmetry did get a kill, but this is exactly why his rating is not that good. This spot, if Spirit played this fundamentally well and they just all kind of pushed up, right, instead of just playing super weird and slow, you know, Symmetry would have most likely at most been a one and done. At most.
He's very in the open.
He's very in the open, right? And I get it. Cash has some awkward angles, but he did choose respectfully one of the worst, and then he was forced out in the open, right? Well, at least, you know, Demon over here is kind of playing the forklift. He could kind of jiggle. xFlow does have a very hard position as well, because it's one of those positions he just has to win. But you can see Symmetry's post plant wasn't the greatest, but I don't know. Spirit just fumbled. Spirit just fumbled, in my opinion. So
Stop at a 3v5 disadvantage. Post plant on that.
it is what it is. I guess it happens sometimes.
I think that's
It
just a
happens.
lack of knowledge on the map.
That last round was a great call.
Or I guess
Yeah, it was.
lack of, you know.
Will you be able to find the finish?
Well, lack of knowledge about urgency. It doesn't matter if you don't
Yeah.
know the map. There was no urgency there. They waited until there was like 10 or 12 seconds left for the defuse. And
Yeah,
then they started
especially
playing.
after the flash
Smoke is
from
there, so is Shiro's orb.
Magic.
From Magic.
Perfectly poised for something. Does find xFlow. Not before he found Donk, though. Crazy. Krebeni shuts down the sniper. Tanir's forward position has been noted, and Demon's playing with him. Caught out Trey.
Very nice.
Nice from Krebeni. Finds that deep
That's
line
just
on the
unlucky from
crack.
Tenier.
Well, that was also
Advantage foot.
Demon played the
Zontic's
time
and Magic's
instead of the
trying to
fight.
find a way back in, but looks like Jugs has got a freebie. Yeah, Zontic's looking the wrong way.
Very good recovery. Honestly, this could have been like
Just
a
Magic's.
8 or 9
This
half for
is tied
Spirit,
up. Dead, even, dead Magic, 6.
right? If it wasn't for that Deagle clutch
Yeah.
from the IGL himself earlier, this most likely would have been like a 8-4, 9-3. And again, Demon right there, just want to give him some credit. You know, he knew he didn't have to take the fight. He obviously did take a fight eventually because it is Counter-Strike, you got to shoot your gun. But he didn't take it instantly. He let his team get onto the site, right? If we just go back a couple of seconds, he let his team, look at the map, right? They're executing, boom, Shiro gets killed, Tanir's here. And he knows, right? He's kind of jiggling it. He could have just wide swung, like at 105, right? Instead, he stalls that out a couple seconds. And that extra 4-second difference was the difference between him possibly insta-dying and his team not on site yet. And instead, he bought out 4 extra seconds, which was able just enough to get the trade kill.
Yep.
Right? And again, was it from Krebeni? IGL, smart player, probably future tier 1 IGL, or even Foot, if they're on the rise, right? You know, he's going to get a lot of credit. And even if they kind of plateau at top 12, top 10, top 8, I'm sure someone is going to pick up Krebeni because he's a very, very smart player. Very, very smart player from what I'm seeing right now. So just really, really good from the Foot boys. And we can see, right? Earlier on the game, they weren't playing so fundamental. They're, you know, other than the pissed around, most gun rounds were kind of fairly weak. But when it does click for them, you can see they trade very well. The firepower is there. The post plant is there. And it's ultimately why, you know, they made it 6-6.
Jugs want to investigate this. Oh, it's a clean headshot to start off proceedings. Tanir sleeping with the fishes. Donk aggressive, Demon the same, and demonic quick headshot finds Shiro, dips away,
picking him
fades
apart.
into obscurity. Magic's distracted, perfect for Krebeni, one in the back, here comes that Donk backstab, Krebeni, he wasn't ready, but Donk can't find the final bullet! That's how the USP, a 1 versus 4 taking
Bro, I'm not going to overanalyze, but I
that one
think
tap.
I'm not a
He's
fan
got
of the pissed around so
He's got
far.
info on the 2 truck.
For Spirit or for Foot?
Spirit.
Yeah,
Just
they,
so individualistic, one by one.
They definitely lacked. I will say that.
He doesn't win this.
It was known that they were not doing too
And he
well.
doesn't. Explode ensures it.
Yeah, like I don't even need to like replay it. They just literally went one by one, bro. Like that was pretty bad.
Mid, big flash over. He takes the pick with the D. It's Molly HE, so can't brave that. And Symmetry
Just unlucky
sits him down with the
from
spam.
Donk.
That
Great
is
by
Donk's
Foot.
6th opening death, I do believe. He's been involved in 10 fights.
But we
won
see,
4,
look,
lost
classic
6.
default positioning, right?
So
2, 2, and 1.
His time, taking his peaks.
This crossfire is so strong.
Spots one side,
They're one of the best crossfires in the game.
For this, X-Floud down, lines him out, locks him down.
X-Flood played absolutely amazing
Continue with
this
the
game.
Maltese, Mr. Floud.
Yeah. X-Cloud's a really good player, but
This man's not missing a beat.
he's just
padding the stats versus Team Spirit.
he's just not consistent enough. And this was also the issue on his previous teams. Like sometimes you would have a game like this, but the next 3 maps he's like, where's X-Cloud?
Yeah.
You know? Or sometimes you would have like 2 good maps and then you would have 1 stinker and it just averages to average, you know?
15 frags now.
But he does play a hard role sometimes.
Very true.
Good restraint on the util as well from Foot. They haven't been pressured, so they've held on to a bunch of incendiaries and smokes.
God, you're right. They've got plenty. That's donked out.
Again, X-Cloud is owning him right now.
Oh, and he's just about
See like that fight from X-Cloud,
1 HP. He pivots into
he
Drake.
wins
He's
it.
surely a dead man. He's
But it was
favorable.
individualistic.
Yeah.
It's not. It's super individualistic, right? So
And I guess Donk.
I know it's kind of crazy.
Shiro trying to provide some support.
You're gonna lose that most of the time.
Yeah.
Krebeni with empty hands. That's big from Magic. Shiro as well. Just Jugs here. Still stands his ground. Another.
Well done by
clutch for
Jugs.
Shiro. He's already had 1. A 1 versus 2. Jugs delaying. Dancing around.
Jugs
the
does
side.
absolutely
Very well
amazing.
played.
He gets it.
Very well played. He played his ones. He
That's
played
if
for
we
the
need to get
time,
there. I'm sure
right?
Foot would like to make this light work.
So many players over there would just, you know, after he gets this kill, not this one, but when they do show him, right? After he gets this one,
Swing again.
he ran
Swing
back.
fight.
he would have just went. Most people would have just went for the fight. Even some of the top professionals on some of the best teams, top 5, top 10 teams in the world, they would have just went for the fight, right? And at that point, again, the odds of you winning that round instantly go down, bro. The fact that he was even able to stall out this long, you can see it was at 13 seconds when Shiro started to kind of push up.
It was
And
7. Yeah, 7 left on the kill. And by the time that happens for Shiro, he needs to plant. And then Demon being your last playtime. And that should be a pretty favorable round.
Yeah, if he kills him here, right, it would be 6 seconds. And then basically once it kind of starts turning to 5 seconds, he has to plant. So he almost doesn't have any time to reposition. So he would probably just go on the side of the box, behind the box. And then again, Demon 1v1. Who knows how it would go down. But again, that was never needed, right? It was just super smart. Didn't take the fight. Big fan of this. We can see Footer getting confident. They're taking B main control. And honestly, when you're up this many rounds, you know, you don't want to throw. You don't want to be doing dumb plays. But you're allowed to be doing riskier plays. You're allowed to be doing set pieces because you can, right? You can afford to do it. And we can see Team Spirit are trying to go break it down. But they're just so disjointed, bro. Like, I'm looking at this. Magix is pretty much borderline solo taking B, right? I understand Shiro's throwing utility, but Tanier's nowhere to be found. You know, so they're just disjointed. I know this isn't Spirit's map, but
a little bit of a just miscommunication, probably.
Well, just miscommunication and like just not being on the same page with timing, right? Because you have Tanier doing nothing and you have Shiro throwing nades, right? And even then, if you're executing, right, Tanier should be right there with Magix.
I agree.
Because
that's a possibility of sight.
Yeah, there's no point in throwing utility just for no reason, right? Every time you throw utility, it's either to bait out utility or for a purpose of blocking out exits, you know, the site, mauling the site, setting up your teammate with flashes. And we see just xCloud just, you know, just getting his one consistently. Tanier now down in a 1v3. Not really known to be the most clutch player, but, you know, obviously if you're forcing a clutch, you're forcing a clutch. And boom, right? Just like that. So very, very weak T side from Spirit on Cash. We'll give them some grace because the map is kind of back. It is fairly new for these guys at least, right? Donk, I don't think he's ever literally played Cash in his life. And again, you know, it's okay to have 1 or 2 weak maps out of like 7. It's okay.
Donk's weak is still like positive too, which is crazy.
Yeah. No, Donk will always be getting his. It's very rare for Donk to have a bad map, let alone a bad series. And yeah, we can see, right? There was a decent amount of mid presence. What happens? Number 2, Symmetry sets up number 1, Demon, to take A main control. Very, very proactive. Very proactive. Foot looked very, very prepared. Right, that's something you said on T side as well. They look very prepared. They look very, very comfortable on this map. To be fair, Cash is kind of a pugging style map, right? So if for some of these, you know, lower tier type players, you can say, you just kind of do your own, right? As we see sometimes xCloud just kind of jump around, you know, get his piece. And this is something that I do want to talk about this round. So you're gonna see, right? It is a 1v3 for xCloud. It is a 1v3. Donk is chilling at B. The other 2 boys are on site, which is fine. But when we go and speed things up over here, we can see xCloud is sneaking up. He is sneaking up. Shiro is pretty far away. Tanier is the only guy really that's decently close. Shiro does come back for one final look. So again, he is decently close right now. Right? Okay, just checks it. Boom.
Leaving the bomb big time, Alex.
But look at this.
It's not a good plan. They're on it. He's on it.
He was about to get it. Honestly, if Tanier was half a meter further in A main, if xCloud went in a slightly different position, this very well could have been a steal from Foot. Obviously, in hindsight, we know Foot still won this map, but this is one of those rounds where, for me, right, just in general as a rule, if you are down and it's match point, you always should just be kind of close sight. Especially not even that. If we're looking at pure economy right over here, Spirit have no reason to hunt. They have zero reason to hunt. Their economy is in jeopardy. We look at the CT money, 11,000, 5,000, 8,100, 8,300. I believe that says 3.5K, and this is before getting any loss bonus of at least 1.4K. Right? This is before getting any type of money, any type of bonus. So even if these guys were hunting kills, it would not be favorable for them because they would either be on AK low utility or Galils and some machine guns with high utility. So again, it still doesn't make sense for them to really hunt here, considering they have zero money, and Foot's piggy bank is not going to get touched. Even xCloud dying, it makes no difference.
Yep.
They have money pretty much for the rest of the game because they have so much money now, and even if their loss bonus keeps building up over the next few rounds, they're pretty much set for the rest of the game because of the strong lead they had. So that is just a real criticism, right? And I would criticize any team for this. You should never really be hunting, right, when it is basically kind of like match point and you are on low economy. Even if it wasn't match point, it would still be kind of a silly thing to do, to hunt them, because you're breaking your economy more than hurting theirs. But anyways, we can see when we jump into this round, right? 12-7, basic, A main control, nothing too crazy. Tenier just kind of lurking up on his own. We can see that Magix is getting flashed out to go up highway. Shiro does go down. Magix does get the trade, so very, very nice. This Z control makes it super awkward for the players. We can see Symmetry misses, it happens, but again, it's not like he wasn't set up for success. xCloud does make up for it, and we can see, right, boom, caught with your pants down, right, in the open, behind a smoke. It is unfortunate, right? He did get a head glitch, but xCloud does get one. And if we go and continue to watch this, I believe this is where he closes out the game. Oh, no, I lied. I did lie. But again, right, we can see even when sometimes Spirit do have a little bit of an advantage, they do kind of end up throwing, right? They do kind of end up throwing. And Zontix got the kill here, but again, very, very sketchy. And this is why, ultimately, even just if you look at the bigger picture, Spirit aren't considered the #1 team, right? They're a contender to always get first place. They're considered a top 3 team. But because of these types of rounds and these types of instances where, they're able to kind of just have the advantage and throw it away, is the reason why they're not considered #1. It's why they don't win as many trophies as the other teams do. Because a prime Vitality, a prime any other team doesn't make as many mistakes as Spirit does, but it's okay. Different styles, different players, different everything, it creates a beautiful thing for Counter-Strike, so I don't really care about it.
I agree.
But of course, that's what.
Well
If
put.
I'm supposed to be just critical, right? If I'm just supposed to be critical, that's my thing. That's the reason why Spirit are like that 10% lower than your prime Vitality, your prime other teams.
Down in T-Small will need to be picked up, so heading back to grab that now. Donk the man tasked with it.
This is so interesting. I didn't see this round, of course, but they literally dropped B, bro.
Nobody spotted in middle. That doesn't mean there's no slip out to pipe. No one hidden towards the vent, but looking to hedge and play 2-2. Can they get back to the site in time? That's
What is 6 smoking out, mulling out? Oh, mid control? Yeah, to bait out rotations. Beautiful.
Rapidly. Krabeni, heaven angle, Magic's pre-aim. Oh, he's caught a bit of a flash of the flesh, does do damage to Dong.
There we go.
Beautiful
Very
double
nice.
swing, beautiful molly. Shugs
Yes,
though
sir.
with this anchor.
He did the best he could, honestly.
Yeah.
That Molly, honestly, if it wasn't for that Molly, he could have maybe even got 2. But we could see,
Tenier,
right?
great spot, honestly. Tenier's kind of just that lurker slash pickpocketer, I guess you could call him. You know what I mean? Just picking those guys off. So
yeah.
Before they just go for that plant, so no risks being taken from Spirit.
Him and Zontix switched roles a little bit. Sometimes I see, Zontix used to be the heavy lurker, but sometimes
he still
Tenier
does.
lurks now.
Sometimes just a mix of both of them.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll see. This round compared to last, where they still won it, but they almost lost. The spacing was so much better.
Yeah.
Right? Or if we compare it to the early T rounds of Magic just being alone at the site, and Tenier and
Look how well
Shiro being
Symmetry
nowhere.
does here.
I think you get Tenier to come and swing this line first, and then Shiro
At this point, it is important to live, right? The economy is absolutely cooked.
Like that. Cemetery's quick though.
Okay. Taking a couple with him.
And he knows that the likeliness of someone coming from the other angle is very, very low.
He's back in his aim on this. Second guessing it now.
Boom, there we go. So, gotta give him where his credit is due. They're not going to be considered high swing kills according to HLTV, but in a moment like that, it's very important to live because look, your economy is kind of cooked.
Two over the boost. Gravenia relays that information.
We can see these guys are on a half buy now, right? Like,
That's an upgrade.
AK found.
Again, that same thing with Zontix being by himself.
yeah, but look, even Donk, look, see, so like
1-1-1.
Magix and Donk, 2 or 3 rounds ago went in together at the same time, peeking. Now, Donk go first, die. Magix go second, die.
Yep.
No trade, no nothing. Even utility, right? Even utility. Nothing was used. The Z, we can see quickly, the Z smoke is going away. The Z smoke is faded. So, you just say, hey, Donk, can you kind of hold Z
Well,
for me?
Magix does have a smoke. Tanir still has a smoke, and Shiro has a smoke still. And they're all in the same side of the map.
Well, those two are splitting A.
Yeah.
So clearly the thing is split A, but Magix does have a smoke. In the perfect world, he should say, Donk, just hold Z while I throw the smoke. Right? Donk should just be kind of in this corner, hugging the wall.
Because now he's
looking at
exposing
Z.
himself to 2 angles once that Z smoke goes.
Exactly. So him putting himself out here, right? Magix is kind of forced to just kind of have his gun out at this point. He can still throw a smoke, but it's risky. Not only that, but Magix still has a flash. Like, Donk just goes in too early, just dies for free. Magix doesn't even use the smoke after, and dies. So it turns into like a pug. Like they literally went from a fundamental place to just pugging it out, just dry peeking. So again, this does fall on Donk, which is usually kind of rare to say. And I know Donk sometimes does, a little bit riskier things and he just gets away because it's Donk. But at the end of the day, right, you should just be holding this. You should be holding Z. You should be, re-smoking it. And then Magix should just do some type of flash for highway for Donk at the bare minimum, right? At the bare minimum. But instead they go one by one. And then we can see it is a 2v5 for the other guys, right? Tanir does bring it back a little bit, gets one. But, it just makes life harder. Not necessarily impossible, but harder. And we can see 2v3 down to a 1v3. Too many angles. Nothing smoked. Right? Like, and that's the thing, right? Nothing smoked. That whole round, basically, other than the Z in the beginning, is nothing smoked. They go into just a bunch of angles. And Cash has a million angles. Cash literally has so many angles. I mean, so many maps have so many angles, of course, but Cash has so many of them. So, again, that was just, honestly, that was like a B tier spirit. A C, like a B tier spirit.
There's the ADR plus minuses and everything for that